Emirates Stadium, once Arsenal's pride, is falling behind, but with a bold £300 million revamp, can the Gunners reclaim the spotlight, or will massive challenges crush their ambitious plans? The Emirates Stadium, once the crown jewel of Arsenal's ambition, is starting to lose its shine, and with rival grounds like Tottenham's high-tech spaceship stealing the spotlight, the Gunners know they can't afford to sit back and watch. So, what's their answer? A jaw-dropping £300 million renovation plan that could transform the Emirates into a futuristic fortress, and maybe, just maybe, make it the envy of the footballing world once again. Let's be real, Arsenal playing second fiddle to Spurs? Yeah, that's not happening. This isn't just a stadium makeover, it's a statement, a declaration that Arsenal is ready to take back the spotlight, and they're not here to play nice. But here's the big question. Can Arsenal actually pull this off, or will their grand vision get swallowed by the endless maze of construction chaos, financial headaches, and the occasional British planning nightmare? And they need to move fast, because while Arsenal debates blueprints, their rivals are surging ahead. Tottenham Stadium looks like it belongs in a sci-fi blockbuster. Liverpool expanded Anfield. Even Manchester City and Aston Villa are leveling up. Arsenal, they risk falling further behind unless they act big. So what's on the agenda? Expanded capacity to tackle that ridiculous 100,000 plus season ticket waiting list, cutting-edge 360-degree HD screens for the ultimate fan experience, and whispers of a retractable roof, because if you're dreaming, why not dream big? Sounds exciting, right? Well, hold your horses, because nothing this ambitious comes without a mountain of problems. We're talking structural nightmares, reduced capacity during construction, and a price tag that could rival the original £390 million cost of building the Emirates. Yeah, no pressure. But here's the thing, this is bigger than just a fancy stadium. It's about pride. It's about proving that Arsenal isn't content with being North London's second best. If they pull this off, the Emirates could once again be a beacon of ambition, innovation, and dominance. So, what do you think? Is Arsenal's £300 million gamble the start of a new era, or just a wildly expensive fantasy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're all ears. When the Emirates Stadium opened back in '06, it was nothing short of a masterpiece. So with a 60,000 plus seat capacity and sleek modern architecture, it was the crown jewel of English football. Arsenal had traded the historic but cramped Highbury for a stadium that screamed ambition, and for a while it felt like the future was red. But fast forward nearly 2 decades, and that once glorious stadium, well, let's just say it's showing its age, and not in a charming vintage kind of way. Here's the reality check. Leaky roofs. Fans turning up for a rainy match day, they might as well bring an umbrella. Yes, the Emirates, the supposed symbol of modern football, has a leaking roof. Not exactly the cutting-edge experiences fans were promised. Outdated facilities. Cramped concourse and glacial speed service at food and drink stands are testing the patience of even the most loyal gooners. Getting a pint shouldn't feel like winning the lottery, but here we are. Capacity crisis. And here's the big one. Over 100,000 fans are stuck on the season ticket waiting list, twiddling their thumbs while the stadium remains frozen in time at just over 60,000 seats. Meanwhile, Arsenal's rivals, they're not messing around. Tottenham now boasts a 62,000 plus seat stadium that's basically a sci-fi movie come to life. Retractable pitch, brewery on site, and a 65-meter long goal line bar, because, why settle for ordinary? Liverpool's expanded Anfield, adding thousands of new seats. Manchester City is upgrading Etihad, and even Aston Villa, yes, Aston Villa, plans to expand Villa Park. And Arsenal, well, if they don't move fast, they risk becoming yesterday's news. A club with Champions League ambitions, but a stadium stuck in 2006. The message is clear. Do nothing and get left behind. For a club with Arsenal's history and ambition, standing still isn't just risky, it's unthinkable. If the Gunners want to keep up with their fiercest rivals, and let's be honest, outshine them, a major stadium overhaul isn't optional, it is a must. Arsenal's answer to this looming crisis? A jaw-dropping £300+ million stadium transformation that could push their capacity to 75,000 or even 80,000 seats. Yeah, the Gunners are really stepping up to ensure the Emirates doesn't just keep up with the competition, it leads the pack. And honestly, it's about time, because while other clubs are flexing their futuristic stadiums, Arsenal fans are still dodging leaks from the roof. So, what's on the menu for this colossal revamp? Spoiler alert, it's not just a fresh coat of paint. Arsenal is thinking big, and if these plans become a reality, the Emirates could be unrecognizable in the best way possible. 1. Expanded capacity. More seats, more noise. Let's start with the big one, fitting more fans inside the Emirates. With over 100,000 supporters stuck on the season ticket waiting list, this upgrade isn't just nice, it's long overdue, and Arsenal is considering 2 radical ways to do it. Adding a new tier. Imagine ripping off the stadium's roof and building an entirely new upper tier. Bold move? Absolutely, but it could add thousands of seats and turn the Emirates into a wall of noise on match days. Plus, more seats mean more fans, and Arsenal fans know how to bring the noise. Digging down. Who knew shovels could be the key to football dominance? Arsenal might lower the pitch to squeeze an extra rows at the front, just like Manchester City did at Etihad. It's clever, it works, and hey, if it means more people are getting to see the action up close, why not? Either way, more seats does mean more fans, more noise, and let's be honest, more cash. And if Arsenal wants to keep up with their flashier rivals, that extra revenue is going to come in handy. Tech upgrades. Welcome to the future. This isn't just about packing in more people, it's about elevating the fan experience. Arsenal's planned tech upgrades sound like they're straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster, and we are totally here for it. 360-degree HD screens. No more squinting at tiny displays. Arsenal is planning to install massive ultra-clear screens wrapping around the stadium. Replays, live stats, player close-ups, you name it. If you're going to charge Premier League prices, you better deliver a Premier League experience, right? LED lighting system. Picture this, the Emirates glowing red and white, the lights dimming as the players emerge from the tunnel. Dramatic? Absolutely. But come on, who wouldn't want that? Tottenham's got their fancy light shows, and Arsenal's clearly ready to one-up. Self-service bars. Finally, a solution to the longest queues in football history. Arsenal is planning automated self-service bars so you can grab a drink and still make it back in time to see the second half kickoff. It's a win-win. 3. Futuristic possibilities. Dream big, Arsenal. And if that wasn't exciting enough, Arsenal's working with Populous, the same architectural masterminds behind both the Emirates and Tottenham's cutting-edge stadium, to push limits even further. Here are some of the ideas floating around. Modular seating. Imagine being able to add and remove seats without tearing down half the stadium. It's a smart, flexible solution that could make future expansions a breeze, because let's face it, this won't be Arsenal's last upgrade. Retractable roof. Yep, the holy grail of stadium upgrades. A fully enclosed Emirates means no more rain-soaked supporters and the potential to host concerts and events year-round. It's ambitious, futuristic, and would make Arsenal the envy of the football world again. The verdict? Arsenal isn't playing around. This isn't just a minor facelift. This is Arsenal planting their flag in the stadium arms race. While their rivals are busy showing off, the Gunners are gearing up to steal the spotlight, and if these plans come to life, the Emirates could become the crown jewel of Premier League. And honestly, it's about time. Arsenal fans have been patient long enough, dodging leaks, squeezing through the tight concourse, and watching their rivals get the upgrade. And now it's their turn to dream big. And if the Gunners can pull this off, the rest of the league is on notice, because when Arsenal gets serious, they don't play around. Of course, turning the Emirates into a 21st century colossus isn't as simple as tossing in a couple extra chairs and calling it a day. No, this is Arsenal, and when they go big, they go big. But with ambitious dreams come massive problems, and the club faces monumental challenges on multiple fronts. If they want to pull off this futuristic makeover, they'll need to navigate a minefield of logistical headaches and financial hurdles, and let's be honest, it won't come easy. 1. Structural nightmares, easier said than done. Let's start with the obvious problem, engineering chaos. Adding more seats might sound simple, but in reality, it's an architectural headache waiting to happen. Removing the roof. Sounds dramatic because it is. Tearing off the roof to add an extra tier isn't just risky, it's ridiculously expensive. And no one wants their beloved Emirates to resemble a construction zone for the next 3 years. And hey, there's also the small matter of ensuring the whole thing doesn't collapse, kind of an important detail. Lowering the pitch. Clever in theory, but a logistical nightmare in practice. Digging down to add seats has been done before. Manchester City pulled it off, but it risks damaging pitch quality, sunlight exposure, and drainage, because who doesn't love a waterlogged pitch on match day, right? So while both options are on the table, let's be clear, neither is a walk in the park. 2. Reduce capacity during construction. Say goodbye to cash. Here's a fun one, lost revenue. Expanding a stadium while keeping the gates open is like juggling knives, dangerous and expensive. Liverpool and Fulham, both clubs had to play in front of smaller crowds during their stadium makeovers. If Arsenal follows suit, that means fewer fans and less game day revenue, and trust me, the club's accountants are not cheering for that. And let's not forget the fans. With over 100K supporters already stuck on the season ticket waiting list, temporarily reducing capacity would only make those wait times feel like a lifetime sentence. 3. Local transport woes. Traffic is about to get worse. A bigger stadium means bigger problems like transport chaos. More fans need better access, and Arsenal may be forced to upgrade local transport links, which isn't exactly free. When the Emirates first opened, Arsenal spent millions improving Highbury and Islington and Finbury Park stations. Now, Holloway Road and Drayton Park could be next on the chopping block. And guess who's footing the bill? Not the taxpayers, Arsenal. Because what's a stadium upgrade without some bonus infrastructure headaches, right? 4. Eye-watering costs bring out the checkbook. Let's talk money, lots of it. Expanding a Premier League stadium isn't cheap, and Arsenal's plans are no exception. Fulham's Riverside stand, over 120 million quid for one stand. Liverpool's Anfield Road stand, another 80 million pounds. And for Arsenal, some estimates suggest their grand vision could cost as much as the original 390 million pounds it took to build the Emirates in the first place. Yes, almost 400 million quid just to keep up with their flashy neighbor. But hey, if Arsenal wants to stay at the top, they'll need to spend like it. The bottom line, it's a massive gamble. This isn't just a stadium upgrade, it's a statement. Arsenal's aiming to turn the Emirates into a supersized tech-packed powerhouse that can rival any stadium in the world. But make no mistake, it's a massive gamble. From structural headaches to transport chaos and staggering costs, the Gunners face an uphill battle. But if they pull it off, the rewards could be enormous. A modern fortress, increased revenue, and a stadium that screams ambition. And honestly, it's about time Arsenal dreamed this big, because in the Premier League stadium arms race, falling behind is not an option. In an age where financial fair play, FFP, and profitability and sustainability rules are breathing down every club's neck, expanding Emirates isn't just a flashy vanity project, it's a strategic necessity. If Arsenal wants to keep pace with their biggest rivals and even their bigger bank accounts, they need to think bigger, bolder, and richer. And this upgrade, it's a golden ticket to making all that happen. Let's break down why expanding the Emirates isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a must-have for Arsenal's future. 1. Matchday revenue growth, because money talks. Here's the harsh reality. Arsenal is leaving money on the table every time they play at home. Don't believe it? Let's talk numbers. Tottenham Hotspur, yes, those noisy neighbors, rake in a staggering £5.6 million per home game thanks to their shiny state-of-the-art stadium. Arsenal, they're sitting at £4.2 million a game. Ouch. But there is a fix, a 23.5% capacity increase. If Arsenal boosts their stadium size to 75,000 seats, their matchday money could soar to £5.2 million a game. Suddenly, the gap with Spurs doesn't look so intimidating, does it? In today's football world, where every penny counts under FFP, increasing capacity equals increasing power, and Arsenal cannot afford to be left behind. 2. Multi-purpose venue potential, more than just football. Why stop at match days when you can make money all year long? The Emirates have the potential to become a multi-purpose powerhouse, and if Arsenal plays their cards right, their stadium could be raking in cash 365 days a year. Just look at Bayern Munich's arena. That place doesn't sleep. Concerts, corporate events, even the occasional American football game. It is a money-making machine. Imagine the Emirates buzzing with activity long after the final whistle. Concerts, because who wouldn't want to see a global superstar light up North London? Corporate events, luxury boxes and conference suites, cha-ching. Community events, bringing fans closer while filling the club's coffers. If Arsenal wants to stay competitive in a financial arms race, maximizing stadium use isn't just a smart move, it's a necessary one. 3. Global events. The world is watching. An expanded high-tech Emirates wouldn't just impress Arsenal fans, it would catch the eye of the world. With a cutting-edge stadium, Arsenal could position themselves to host international tournaments, raising their global profile while adding millions to their revenue stream. Imagine the Emirates hosting World Cup matches or becoming a key venue for UEFA finals. That's not just prestige, that's big business. And let's face it, global exposure matters. It boosts the brand, attracts new fans, and keeps Arsenal at the forefront of the footballing elite. Why let other clubs have all the fun when the Gunners could be the main attraction? This isn't just about bragging rights, it's about survival at the top. Expanding the Emirates is Arsenal's ticket to bigger profits, global relevance, and a stadium that isn't just keeping up, but leading the charge. Arsenal's co-chair, Josh Kroenke, has already dropped the bomb. The club is in deep discussions about expanding the Emirates. And while that's music to every Gunner's ears, don't expect bulldozers to show up tomorrow. Patience, my friend, patience. Because here's the thing, big dreams take time. If we're using Liverpool's Anfield expansion as a reference, a cool 3 years, or Barcelona's massive Camp Nou redevelopment, a whopping 4 years, Arsenal fans might want to get comfortable. This is going to be a long ride. Let's be real, there's no magic wand to instantly transform the Emirates into a 75,000-seat colossus. This is a complex, multi-year process that'll probably mean reduced capacity while the work happens. So yes, getting your hands on a ticket during construction, good luck with that. But hey, short-term pain for long-term gain, right? Here's one thing Arsenal cannot afford to do: sit still while everyone else levels up. Tottenham has a futuristic football palace. Manchester City is expanding. Even Aston Villa is getting in on the action. Arsenal, they cannot afford to fall behind. Not on the pitch and definitely not off it. And let's not forget, this isn't just about stadium envy. In today's football world where FFP and PSR regs rule the roost, more seats mean more cash, and more cash means better players. And if Arsenal wants to keep challenging for titles, this expansion is essential. So, while fans might have to endure a few years of dust, scaffolding, and limited tickets, the payoff could be massive. Picture it, a world-class stadium packed to the brim with 75,000 roaring gooners ready to push the team to glory. The Emirates renovation isn't just about keeping up with Tottenham, it's about blowing past them and redefining what a football cathedral could be. Arsenal isn't aiming for a minor touch-up here. No, they're going all in with a £300 million vision that could transform the Emirates into one of the most cutting-edge stadiums in the world. And honestly, it's about time. Because let's face it, while the Emirates was once a shining beacon of ambition, competition has not caught up. They've surged ahead. Tottenham Stadium has a beer bar the length of a football pitch, for crying out loud. Meanwhile, Arsenal fans are still getting drenched thanks to leaky roofs. Not exactly the futuristic fortress you'd expect, right? But if this renovation goes as planned, Arsenal could flip the script in a big way. We're talking about expanded capacity, next-level tech upgrades, and maybe, just maybe, features like modular seating or even a retractable roof. Imagine the Emirates glowing red and white, echoing with 80,000 fans while Arsenal storms the pitch. Sounds epic, doesn't it? Of course, pulling this off won't be easy. Between logistical nightmares, reduced capacity during construction, and staggering costs, Arsenal has some serious hurdles ahead. And let's not even get started on the local transport chaos, because if you've ever tried navigating Holloway Road after a match, you already know the struggle. But here's the thing, Arsenal doesn't settle. They didn't leave their Highbury just to play second fiddle to anyone, least of all their North London rivals. This renovation is more than just a shiny new toy, it's a statement, a declaration that Arsenal plans to be at the top, not just of the league, but of stadium innovation too. So here's the big question. Can Arsenal's £300 million vision set a new gold standard, or is it just a pipe dream in the making? Whatever happens, one thing is clear. Arsenal isn't here to be second best, and if they pull this off, the Emirates could again be the crown jewel of English football. What do you think? Are the Gunners about to raise the bar, or is this just wishful thinking? Newcastle's United Stadium is reaching a breaking point. Expanding is impossible and moving feels unthinkable. But what if there's a solution? A 70,000-seater in Leazes Park could change everything. Let's dive into why a new stadium is the way forward. Newcastle United isn't just your average mid-table club anymore, folks. Those days of fighting for survival in the Premier Leagues are long gone. Under ambitious ownership, the Magpies are now gunning for sustained Champions League football, domestic trophies, and why not, global recognition. Sounds great, right? Well, there's just one tiny issue. St. James's Park is absolutely not ready for this kind of league. Let's talk numbers. St. James Park currently holds just over 52,000 fans. Now, that might seem like a decent number, but hold on. Every single game, tickets sell out in minutes. Yeah, minutes. It's like trying to get your hands on the latest iPhone on release day. The demand for tickets is insane. Fans would probably camp out in the streets for a chance to get in, if only they could. And yet, every single match day, thousands of die-hard Geordies are left standing outside watching the match from the pub, or, heaven forbid, watching it on TV. How frustrating, right? And let's not forget, even if they're facing footballing equivalent of a traffic cone, aka lower league opposition, St. James Park is packed to the brim. The appetite for more seats, more capacity is undeniable. You just can't ignore it. This is a club that wants to grow, heck, needs to grow. But this is where things really get fun. Any attempt to expand St. James Park, oh boy, that's like trying to fit a giraffe into a Mini Cooper. The East Stand is surrounded by listed buildings. Those things are like ancient treasure chests, protected by every law under the sun. The Gallagate end is up against city center infrastructure that's not going anywhere. Every plan to extend the stadium, they crumble faster than your New Year's resolutions. Let's face it, expanding St. James Park, not happening. So, what's the solution? Well, buckle up, because here comes Leazes Park, the shiny new prospect that's stirring up all kinds of excitement. Will it be the answer to Newcastle's growing pains, or is it just another fantasy we can throw into a pile of dreams that didn't come true? Well, it's time to find out. The Telegraph just dropped a bombshell that's going to have Newcastle United fans buzzing for weeks, months even. Buckle up, because this is big. According to their sources, The board is all in on a plan to build a £1.2 billion, 70,000-seat stadium in Lees Park. And no, this isn't some far-off fantasy of moving the club to a generic stadium in the middle of nowhere. This is next door. Yes, next door, just beyond St. James Park. It's so close you can almost feel the adrenaline of that match day atmosphere already. Let's think about this for a second. Imagine a stadium state-of-the-art with cutting-edge everything. I mean, this isn't just a new set of seats and a fresh coat of paint. We're talking about a sleek, modern fortress of football, rising just beyond St. James Park, staying within the heart of the city. No, we're not talking about moving to the outskirts of Newcastle or, God forbid, Sunderland. Can you imagine? That'd be the equivalent of trading in a Ferrari for a tricycle. No thanks. This ensures that the soul of the club stays right where it belongs, in the heart of the city, next to the passionate fans who live and breathe every match. And here's where it gets really exciting. Hold on to your hat. The transition could be seamless. Yes, you heard that right. The earlier proposals suggest that the new stadium could be built in St. James Park stays open. Let that sink in. While the Magpies continue to play in front of you, their diehard supporters, the new stadium will be under construction right next door. Talk about a slick move. Sure, there might be a season or two with reduced capacity, but who cares? You're still watching the team you love. And not to mention, you don't have to travel miles away to some random town and pretend it's still home. The team stays in the city. The fans stay loyal. How cool is that? But of course, this isn't just about digging a hole and stacking some bricks. No. There is red tape, and lots of it. Think council approvals, conservation concerns, you know the drill. Lees Park isn't just any old plot of land. It's got historical significance. So it's going to take a bit of patience and paperwork. But here's the kicker. Money talks, and Newcastle's owners, well, they got more money than all of us could ever dream of. And when it comes to making this happen, you better believe they've got the clout to bulldoze through those bureaucratic hurdles. They've already proven they've got the vision and drive to take the club to the next level, and this stadium is part of that next level ambition. Sure, it's not happening tomorrow or next week or even next month, but make no mistake, this is the future. The location is perfect, the demand for a bigger stadium is insane, and let's face it, Newcastle deserves something that matches its ambition. This isn't just about increasing capacity, it's about setting the club up for decades of success. It's about putting Newcastle on the map as a true European powerhouse. So, what do you think? Are you ready for this? Because it is coming, and when it does, the only thing you're going to regret is not getting a season ticket now, before the stadium becomes the hottest ticket in town. Some fans still cling to the hope of expanding St. James Park, but let's face it, every rational argument points to the harsh reality that it's just not going to happen. It's like hoping your childhood bike magically turns into a Ferrari. Nice thought, but no, that's not happening. East End is trapped by listed buildings, you know, those charming pieces of history that make Newcastle unique. Yeah, well, demolishing them to make space for more seats, that's not a quick fix. That's a bureaucratic nightmare. And let's be real, Newcastle isn't going to win a battle in heritage protection. So, what are you left with? A stand that can't go anywhere. The Gallowgate end could, in theory, be extended. In theory, sure, but that would require a complex engineering overhaul. And when I say complex, I mean mind-bending, wallet-draining, and honestly totally impractical. We're talking about redesigning foundations, tackling safety regs, and spending a fortune just to get things up to code. And for what? More seats wouldn't make St. James any bigger than the other club stadiums, so no thanks, it's just not worth the hassle. A 60,000-seat St. James would still be smaller than Arsenal's Emirates. That's right, 60,000 seats. And it would be tiny compared to what clubs like Arsenal have. Not to mention it'd pale in comparison to the ambition that Newcastle's owners have for the club. A 60,000-seat stadium might sound good on paper, but let's be honest, it's not setting the world on fire. Newcastle wants more than that. They want something that screams global powerhouse, not just a bigger version of what they already have. Even Eddie Howe, while laser-focused on getting results on the pitch, knows that the future success of the club isn't just about winning. It's about sustainable growth, and what better way to solve the constant headache of FFP than a brand new stadium generating record-breaking revenue? We're talking about a venue that can pack in tens of thousands of fans, offer top-tier facilities and amenities that bring in serious cheddar year in and year out. That's the kind of solution the club needs if it's serious about competing at this high level. So, there you have it. St. James Park, as much as we all love it, has hit its limit. It served the club well, but the future lies in a shiny new stadium that can meet the needs of the ambitious club Newcastle has become. Newcastle's January transfer window was, well, let's be honest, underwhelming. No big signings, no headline-grabbing moves, just a lot of talk about FFP restrictions and tough financial decisions. great. The club's spending power is being choked by revenue limitations and it's getting a little old now. But here's where the magic happens. A brand new stadium. Picture this, a shiny state-of-the-art 70,000-seater stadium. This isn't just about more seats, it's about transforming the whole financial landscape of the club. This could be the move that takes Newcastle from trying to squeeze on the margins of FFP to calling the shots when it comes to money. Let's break it down, shall we? 1. More matchday revenue. Let's start with the obvious. More seats equals more people. A 70,000-seat stadium means loads more fans packed in every week. And what do more fans mean? More cash. Think about it. More tickets sold, more merch, more food, more drinks, you get the idea. We're talking a huge boost in game day revenue, and we all know Newcastle fans are going to fill that place. Demand's sky high, and with this new stadium, it could be off the charts. 2. More corporate hospitality income. Now, let's get into the corporate side of things. This isn't just about fans in the stands, it's about those luxury suites, VIP boxes, and exclusive areas for companies to get their hands on. Big brands love associating with success, and a stadium like this is a beacon for success. So naturally, more corporate hospitality income. Companies will still want a piece of that action, and who can blame them? Everyone wants to be in the room with the cool kids, right? 3. More leverage in commercial deals. And here's where things get really interesting, sponsorships and commercial deals. With a 70K seat stadium, Newcastle suddenly be in a prime position to negotiate serious lucrative deals. We're talking major global sponsors, bigger merchandise deals, and exposure on a much bigger scale. A stadium this size puts Newcastle on the map, not just in the UK, but internationally. It's about leveraging that new global profile to bring in the big bucks. The long-term play. Look, I know we're just talking about the long term here, but this isn't just some pipe dream. It is necessary. If Newcastle ever wants to compete with the big boys, they need to get serious about their financing. Take a look at Manchester United and their game day revenue from Old Trafford. It obliterates what Newcastle makes right now. But imagine Newcastle with a bigger, massive stadium. Absolute game changer. That's the kind of move that gives the Magpies the financial clout that they need to finally compete on a level playing field. So, what's it going to be? More of the same, scraping by with FFP rules? Or does Newcastle want to break free and dominate? A new stadium could be exactly what they need to step up and leave the small-time financial struggles behind. Some fans even believe that 70,000 seats might not be enough, and honestly, they've got a point. Newcastle United has one of the most die-hard fan bases in world football. Seriously, these fans are next-level passionate. Just look how St. James Park fills up even when the opposition's in from the lower leagues. Whether it's a cup game or a mid-table clash, the place is packed to the gills. So, can you imagine the man when it's Champions League nights or title deciders, or, dare I say it, a cup final push? That's a whole other ballgame. Could Newcastle push for 80,000 seats, maybe even 90,000? In a perfect world, absolutely. Can you picture it? A colossal state-of-the-art stadium with fans singing their hearts out, creating an atmosphere so electric that it gives other premier clubs serious stadium envy. It's the stuff dreams are made of. But hold on, because practicality quickly reminds us that it's not quite that simple. Yes, we all want more seats, but let's not get carried away. Expanding beyond 70,000 seats likely means taking over all of Lees's Park. And my friend, that's where the problem starts. In theory, the idea sounds great, but the execution? A legal nightmare waiting to happen. I'm talking council meetings, red tape, protests, and a whole lot of angry locals who aren't too keen on having their park turned into a football fortress. You think taking over an entire park doesn't come with 100 different obstacles? Think again. There's only so much room in that part of Newcastle, and tearing up Lees's Park would cause a storm of controversy. For now, 70,000 seems like the perfect middle ground. Big enough to satisfy the demand of Newcastle's loyal fan base while still being a realistic target. It's ambitious, but not too ambitious. This isn't a case of dreaming too big and then watching it all crumble under the weight of too many what-ifs. No, this is a stadium that can be built, approved, and used for years to come. It strikes the perfect balance, big enough to send a message, but small enough to actually get done, and that's the key. A 70,000-seat stadium is more than just a number. It's a solution that makes sense in the long run, both practically and financially. For Newcastle, it's the perfect way to balance ambition with reality. You want to compete with the big boys? Well, here's the first step. No need for a 90,000-seat monstrosity to make a statement when 70,000 will do the job just fine. If Newcastle moves forward with this plan, fans shouldn't be expecting a shiny new stadium anytime soon. Sure, it sounds great on paper, but there's a little thing called time, and let's just say it's not going to be an overnight transformation. According to The Telegraph, the target completion date for the new stadium is 2030 or 31. That's right, folks, 2030 or 2031. So buckle up, because this is going to be a long-term project. Here's what the timeline actually means. A few years of legal wrangling, public consultations, and securing approvals. Oh yes, the red tape is coming. You can bet there will be endless debates, protests, probably a couple council meetings that drag on for way longer than anyone wants, but it's a necessary evil, but it's still going to be a pain. A few more years of actual construction. Even when the approvals come in, don't expect bulldozers to start rolling in the next few months. Construction will take years as they need to build a stadium of 70,000 seats integrated into the surrounding area and deal with, well, all the logistical nightmares that come with building a modern football fortress. No big deal, right? A phased move from St. James's Park to the new ground. Let's not forget, they got to move out of St. James Park and into this shiny new arena. It's not going to be a simple flip-the-switch kind of deal. They'll need to phase the move to avoid putting the club in a jam, and that'll probably mean a couple of seasons with reduced capacity. But hey, at least they won't be playing in exile like other clubs might do during relocation. And here's the wild card. Newcastle's part of the UK's bid to host Euro 2028. Could the new stadium be ready in time for the tournament? That's a tough decision. Logistics are a mess, and there's lots of things could go wrong. But if there's one thing we know, it's that the long-term vision is clear. It's all about big ambitions, and Newcastle's owners are determined to make this happen, even if it means waiting a bit longer. The future's looking bright, but it's going to be a long ride to get there. Change is never easy, especially when it involves something as sacred as St. James Park. The idea of leaving the hallowed grounds, even if it's just a few hundred meters, is enough to send a chill down the spine of any traditionalist. After all, who wants to abandon history? But let's be real for a sec here. This isn't just about turning our backs on the past. It's about securing the future, taking the club to the next level where it belongs. So why a new stadium? Why in Lees's Park? Well, here's the reality. More fans inside the ground. A 70,000-seat stadium means more rooms for the Geordie faithful. Imagine the noise, the passion, the intensity, with 70,000 Magpie fans packed in. If you thought St. James was electric, just wait till this new arena's filled to the brim. The atmosphere will be off the charts. More revenue. Let's not kid ourselves. Newcastle's finances are chained by financial fair play restrictions. But a new, bigger stadium, that's going to bring in more revenue. That means breaking free from those shackles. More fans means more matchday income, which equals more room to breathe financially. This is the type of financial freedom Newcastle needs to thrive in the modern game. A club positioned for sustained European football. Let's face it, Newcastle's ambitions aren't just about staying in the Premier League or winning the occasional cup. This club wants Champions League nights, season after season. A bigger stadium allows for more commercial opportunities, bigger sponsorships, and the kind of visibility that will help Newcastle compete on the European stage year in and year out. What's the alternative? Stagnation. Watching other clubs pull ahead, getting bigger, while we cling to nostalgia in an aging stadium that no longer serves the club's needs. And that's not the vision. This project isn't about disrespecting the past. It's about building a future that matches the ambition we all share. Let's get real. If we want to keep up with the big guys, we need to think big. A 70,000-seat Lees's Park Stadium isn't just a vision, it's essential. Love it or hate it, it is happening. So are you ready? If you're a Manchester United fan, what I'm about to tell you is going to sound embarrassing. But did you know that Old Trafford is so old that the roof leaks when it rains? Yes, Manchester United's home has been falling apart for years. But the good news is the club's finally decided to build a brand new stadium. Keep watching this video because you won't believe the capacity this new stadium, or should we say New Trafford, will have. But first, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the Visionary Builds channel, and thanks for being here. The major problems with Old Trafford. If you ever watched a Manchester United game at Old Trafford, you know it's a legendary stadium. Some of the best football players in history have played there. But the problem is, it's getting old. Really, really old. The stadium was built in 1910, and while it's been renovated a few times, it no longer is keeping up with modern standards. Now, you'd think a club as big as Manchester United would have a top-tier stadium, right? But Old Trafford's been left to rot in some places. The paint's peeling, the seats are worn out, and the plumbing is questionable at best. If you ever tried using the toilets there, you know exactly what we're talking about. In fact, it's an experience that might leave you reconsidering your choices of football clubs to support. Then there's the lack of modern technology. Other top clubs have state-of-the-art stadiums with incredible sound systems, fancy LED screens, and top-notch Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, at Old Trafford, fans struggle to get a signal strong enough to check other scores. And let's not even get started on the restricted views in some parts of the stadium. If you're unlucky enough to be stuck behind a pillar, well, enjoy watching the game through the tiny gaps like you're playing a real-life version of football-themed peekaboo. But the final straw that broke the camel's back is Old Trafford's structural issues. That roof's been leaking for years, and when it rains, fans in certain areas have to bring raincoats inside the stadium. Yes, you heard me right. Raincoats inside. This isn't just embarrassing for a club of this stature, it's totally unacceptable. However, instead of just fixing these issues, the club decided to take things to the next level by building a whole new stadium. What will the new stadium look like? As you'd expect, the new stadium is expected to be massive, and with a seating capacity of 100,000, it's going to be the biggest stadium in England, even larger than Wembley. The club has already hired world-class architects, Foster Plus Partners, the same team that designed Wembley, to make sure the stadium is top-notch. The good news is the early designs show a sleek, futuristic look, but surprisingly, not everyone is impressed. Some fans think that the stadium looks like a dishwasher tablet, while others say it resembles a giant boiled sweet. But regardless of the design, one thing is clear: Manchester United is making a statement with this project. The plan is to include cutting-edge technology, massive screens, and some of the best hospitality areas in football. Unlike Old Trafford, where fans complain about tight legroom, the new stadium promises more comfortable seating, better sightlines, and improved accessibility for disabled fans. It's a step into the future, leaving behind the crumbling relic of the past. There's also talk about sustainable energy. Modern stadiums are focusing on eco-friendly designs, and United is no exception. Solar panels, rainwater collection systems, and energy-efficient lighting could all be part of the blueprint. If done right, it could set a new standard for football stadiums across the world. However, all this comes at a massive cost, which we're going to get into later. But if the club pulls it off, this could be one of the greatest stadiums on the planet. If they don't, well, they'll never hear the end of it from rival fans. One thing's for sure, though. Love it or hate it, this stadium is going to change Manchester United forever. What will happen to Old Trafford? So, with talks of a new stadium buzzing, one of the biggest questions fans have is what will happen to the historic Old Trafford. I mean, it has been Manchester United's home since 1910, and for over a century, it's hosted some of the most unforgettable moments in football history. From Sir Matt Busby's legendary team to the dominance of Sir Alex Ferguson's era, Old Trafford's more than just a stadium. It's a sacred ground for United fans. But let's be honest, the old stadium has seen better days. The leaky roof, outdated facilities, and crumbling infrastructure make it clear that a serious upgrade is long overdue. However, some fans were hoping for a major renovation rather than a complete demolition. There was even a suggestion to keep Old Trafford and then convert it to a smaller stadium for women's and academy teams. But after looking at the cost, the idea was quickly thrown out. It turns out fixing up Old Trafford to modern standards would be just as expensive, if not more, than building a brand new stadium from scratch. So the decision has been made. Old Trafford will be completely torn down to make way for a state-of-the-art 100,000-seater stadium. Of course, this decision has sparked mixed reactions. Some fans are devastated at the thought of losing such a historic landmark. Others are excited about the possibilities of a brand new world-class arena. But let's face it, change is hard, and as much as Old Trafford holds sentimental value, the truth is that the club needs a stadium that matches its global status. Premier League's evolved, and United needs a home that can rival the best in the world. Now the demolition process will be done in phases, allowing the team to continue playing in some capacity while the new stadium gets built. Once completed, the new arena will bring in better facilities, a much improved fan experience, and potentially host major international events like the Champions League final. And let's not forget, this isn't just about Manchester United. The new stadium will boost the local economy, creating thousands of jobs and bring massive investment to the surrounding area. So while saying goodbye to Old Trafford is going to be emotional, the future looks incredibly bright for United fans. Who's behind the project? For those who don't know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the mastermind behind the stadium's overhaul. He's a British billionaire, owner of the petrochemicals giant Ineos, and a lifelong Manchester United fan. So unlike some of the previous club owners, he actually cares about the team and wants to see it rise. And since Ineos bought a minority stake in the club, Ratcliffe's been pushing for major changes, and the biggest of them all is the new stadium. From day one, Ratcliffe has been vocal about his vision. He doesn't want to just create a new stadium, he wants to create the Wembley of the North. In his eyes, football in the north of England is just as big, if not bigger, than down south. So why should all the major finals and international tournaments take place in London? Wembley, Twickenham, and Wimbledon are all in the south, and Ratcliffe believes Manchester deserves a world-class stadium that can host events like the FA Cup Final, Champions League Final, and even England internationals. And let's be real, the guy's got a point. Manchester is one of the football capitals of the world, so having a 100,000-seater stadium would not only give United an incredible home ground, but also attract massive global events, bringing prestige and economic benefits to the city. But Ratcliffe isn't doing this alone. The project has major backing from some major players, including Andy Burnham, the mayor of Manchester. Burnham has called this project the biggest regeneration scheme ever seen in the country, and he's not exaggerating, because this isn't just about a football stadium. The plan includes major improvements to transport links, new housing and business developments, and creating a whole new district in Manchester. In short, it's a game changer for the city. Now, if anyone knows how to build an iconic stadium, it's Foster Plus Partners. Their job is to make sure the new home of Manchester United isn't just another big stadium, but a true masterpiece that'll be the envy of clubs worldwide. At the end of the day, the people behind this project have one goal: to restore Manchester United's reputation as the biggest club in the world. And a shiny, state-of-the-art 100,000-seater is definitely a step in the right direction. How much will it cost, and when will it be ready? Of course, building a stadium isn't cheap. In fact, the estimated cost is over 2 billion quid, making it one of the most expensive stadium projects ever. And just putting that in perspective, that's more than the GDP of some small nations. It's also significantly more than what Tottenham spent on their new stadium, which was around £1 billion, and that even felt like a fortune. Now, let's talk about when this mega project will actually be ready. Final designs got submitted at the end of last year, and once the paperwork is done, construction could happen as early as this year. But before we get too excited, let's be real. Big stadium projects are never quick. If everything goes smoothly, which is a big if, Manchester United might be playing in their new home by the end of the decade. That's 5 years of construction, dust, noise, and possibly a few delays that'll leave us all pulling our hair out. For reference, Tottenham Stadium took 3 years to build, and that was even delayed multiple times. Barcelona's new camp renovation started in 2023, but that won't get fully done until the year after next. So history tells us that these things never go exactly as planned, meaning patience will be key, especially for fans like us who want to see their team play in a modern world-class arena ASAP. But hey, let's not forget the small matter of where Manchester United's going to play when this is all happening. Are they temporarily going to move to another stadium? Will they try and play in a half-finished construction site with cranes and scaffolding in the background? These are questions that need answers, and they will be crucial in determining how smoothly this transition goes. What do fans have to say about this? As you'd expect, Manchester United fans are divided, and honestly, that's putting it lightly. The club surveyed about 30,000 supporters, and the results were a straight-up 50-50 split. Half want to stay at Old Trafford to keep the history alive, and the other half are ready to move on and embrace a shiny new future. For the traditionalists, this feels like losing a piece of the club's soul, because Old Trafford isn't just a stadium. It's where Sir Alex Ferguson built his dynasty, where legends like Eric Cantona, Ryan Giggs, and Cristiano Ronaldo have made history. Fans have decades of memories tied to that place, and the thought of tearing it down is heartbreaking for many. Some believe that moving to a new stadium could erase part of Manchester United's identity, because after all, you can't just build a history overnight. But on the other side, many fans are looking at the bigger picture. Old Trafford, as iconic as it is, has definitely seen better days. Whenever it rains, it feels like the stadium is holding a bucket challenge that none of us asked for. Leaky roofs, outdated facilities, and a lack of modern features make it clear that an upgrade is long overdue. A brand new stadium could mean better experiences for fans, more revenue for the club, and a better chance to compete with Europe's elite. Plus, who wouldn't want to see Champions League finals or major international tournaments getting played in Manchester instead of always getting hosted in the South? Of course, not everyone's convinced. Some fans are skeptical about whether this project will be done properly. Will the new stadium have the same intimidating atmosphere that made Old Trafford a fortress? Will ticket prices skyrocket, making it harder for the average fan to attend games? These are real concerns, and they won't go away until the club gives more details. One thing's for sure, though, no matter what happens, emotions are running high. Some will be heartbroken, others will be thrilled, and a few will be hoping the new stadium doesn't end up looking like a giant dishwasher tablet. Yeah, that's an actual complaint from some fans who saw the early designs. What happens next? For now, everything is still in the planning stages. The final designs and plans have been submitted, and if approved, construction starts this year. But let's be real, this isn't just about drawing up fancy blueprints and picking the right shade of red for the seats. This is a massive project that'll take years to complete, and a lot can happen between now and then. First, there's money. We're talking about a £2 billion plus project here, and let's just say that's not pocket change. Manchester United will have to secure funding, and while Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are committed to the rebuild, there's still a lot of financial juggling to be done. Will it be privately funded? Will there be government support? Will ticket prices skyrocket to cover costs? These are the burning questions that fans and critics will be debating for years to come. Then there's logistics. Where will United play while Old Trafford's getting torn down? Will they ground share with another club, or will they phase out construction in a way that allows them to still use parts of the stadium? No one knows for sure yet, but whatever happens, it's going to be a huge adjustment for players and fans alike. One thing's certain, whether you love the idea or hate it, Manchester United is about to undergo its biggest transformation in decades. So get ready, Old Trafford days are numbered, and a brand new era is about to begin for the Red Devils. But what do you think? Should Old Trafford be completely taken down for a new stadium, or should they just fix their leaking roofs and upgrade the Wi-Fi? After over a century at Goodison Park, Everton decided it was time for an upgrade, and they didn't hold back. This $1.2 billion waterfront stadium is bigger, bolder, and ready to make waves. Let's be honest though, Goodison Park is a legend, but it's also, well, a little past its prime. Tight concourses, aging infrastructure, and a capacity that can't keep up with the Premier League's heavyweights. So, Everton's response? Go big. $1.2 billion big. The new Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium promises more than just extra seats. It's a 52,000-seat fortress, blending sleek modern design with Liverpool's gritty industrial past. From a massive south stand built to shake opponents to smart tech enhancing every match day, this place means business. But here's the real question. Is this the stadium that finally puts Everton back on top? Let's dive in. Nestled in the heart of Liverpool, Goodison Park has been Everton's home since 1892. But calling it just a stadium would be like calling the Beatles just a band, wildly underselling their significance. It's a fortress soaked in history where every seat's got a story and every corner echoes with the roar of fans who've witnessed the highest highs and the lowest of lows. From thrilling title victories to nail-biting battles, Goodison has been the beating heart of Everton Football Club for over 100 years. Yet as much as nostalgia tugs at our heartstrings, there's no escaping the truth. Goodison Park is past its prime. With a capacity just shy of 40,000, it's no match for the Premier League's mega stadiums. At one point it could hold around 78,000 fans, but modern safety regulations slashed that number in half, and while its vintage charm might warm the hearts of die-hard Evertonians, the creaking infrastructure isn't quite as endearing. The club spends millions a year on repairs just to keep the old ground in working order, a financial headache that's not going away anytime soon. For a club with ambitions to compete at the highest level, staying at Goodison is like trying to win a Formula One race in a vintage car. It's romantic, but not exactly practical. Everton has long needed a venue that matches their vision for the future. One that doesn't just meet modern standards, but sets a new benchmark. Enter Bramley-Moore Dock. After decades of false starts, abandoned plans, and enough red tape to wrap around the Mersey, Everton's finally getting the upgrade that they've been chasing since the 90s. This new stadium isn't about bigger crowds, it's a statement, a bold steel and glass declaration that Everton isn't content to live in the past. They're moving forward, and they're doing it in style. Enter the Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium, a project that's not just home for football, but a bold statement about Everton's future. Located on the River Mersey, right at the heart of Liverpool's historic docklands, this architectural beast will hold 52,000 fans. That's over 10,000 more than Goodison Park could squeeze in. Clearly, Everton is done playing it small. But this isn't just a numbers game. It's about delivering an experience that hits harder than a last-minute winner. Everton's vision? To craft a stadium that fuses cutting-edge design with the city's industrial backbone. Picture sleek modern architecture draped in the grit and soul of Liverpool's maritime past. It's a tricky balancing act, mixing the future with the city's rough and ready roots. But so far, Everton looks like they're pulling it off with style. And if the design wasn't ambitious enough, the location itself cranks things up a notch. The Bramley-Moore Dock isn't just any old plot of land. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Translation? Every brick laid had to jump through hoops to protect the area's historical significance. Everton didn't just slap together a shiny new stadium. They've been working closely with conservationists to make sure the project not only preserves the dock's rich heritage, but enhances it. Because why just build a stadium when you can give us a history lesson while you're at it? But here's where things get even more interesting. This stadium is more than just a fancy venue for match days. It's part of a broader mission to breathe new life into Liverpool's waterfront, an area that's spent decades stuck in the past. Everton isn't just planting their flag here, they're helping lead the charge to revitalize the entire area. Think jobs, tourism, and a fresh spark for a part of the city that's been gathering dust. At its core, this project is about more than football. It's about Everton digging its roots even deeper into the city they call home. With the Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium, they're not just building a place to play, they're building a future. And by the looks of it, they're doing it with all the swagger you'd expect. Inside the stadium, the focus is clear, creating an electric, immersive atmosphere. Everton's designers understand one thing. Fans aren't just spectators, they're the pulse of the game. And at Bramley-Moore Dock, that pulse will be louder, closer, and more intense than ever. They've gone all out to make sure every chant, cheer, and groan reverberates through the stands, because what's football without a little chaos? To crank up the intensity, the stands are designed to be as close to the pitch as physics will allow. Forget binoculars, fans will practically feel every tackle. But the real showstopper, the South Stand. This beast of a section will pack in 13,000 roaring Evertonians, all on a single tier. It's not just a stand, it's a fortress of sound. Visiting teams, good luck handling that wall of noise. It's engineered to rattle nerves and push Everton's players to new heights. If sound waves could score goals, Everton might just go undefeated. But it's not all about noise. Everton's giving fans the royal treatment too. Wider concourses mean no more elbowing your way to the snack stand, and improved accessibility ensures every fan feels welcome. And the food? Oh, they're promising premium options, which hopefully means moving beyond the standard mystery meat pies. And because this is the future, Everton's bringing tech to the party. Imagine ordering your halftime pint without missing a second of the action. No more sprinting to the bar like your life depends on it. And for the stat junkies, real-time updates will be at your fingertips. Want to know how many kilometers your favorite players run? There's an app for that. It's not just about watching football, it's about living and breathing every moment. This isn't just a stadium, it's a statement. Everton's not here to blend in. They're here to redefine the fan experience. With a stadium built to amplify both the noise and the nostalgia, they're sending a clear message. The future is loud, it's bold, and it's unapologetically blue. Even the pitch itself's getting a futuristic makeover because, of course, nothing says modern football powerhouse like cutting-edge grass. At Bramley-Moore Dock, Everton isn't just settling for any ordinary turf. Instead, they're using hybrid grass technology, a clever mix of natural grass and synthetic fibers. The result? A pitch that's as tough as it is pristine, built to withstand the chaos of the Premier League while still looking like it's been freshly manicured for royalty. Rain or shine, mid-season slump, or title chase, this surface is match-ready all year round. No muddy patches, no excuses. But here's the real kicker. It's not just about what's underfoot. Everton is obsessed with the details, and that obsession extends to how the game is seen. Every inch of the stadium is being engineered to deliver optimal sightlines. Whether you're lucky enough to be in the front row or perched high up in the nosebleeds, you're not going to miss a thing. Every pass, every crunching tackle, every last-minute screamer is going to be in perfect crystal clear view. No awkwardly placed beams to ruin the moment. Just an uninterrupted panorama of footballing drama. And it doesn't stop there. Lighting conditions are also getting a serious glow-up. Everton's new stadium will feature advanced lighting systems designed to ensure that every moment on the pitch is showcased with razor-sharp clarity. No dim quarters, no shadows swallowing up the action, just a bright, flawless display that makes even the scrappiest goal look like a work of art. It's a simple message, really. Everton isn't just building a stadium, they're crafting a footballing masterpiece. Every blade of grass, every beam of light, every seat designed to make fans feel closer to the action than ever before. It's bold, it's ambitious, and it's a clear sign that Everton isn't here to blend into the background. With a pitch this perfect, there are no hiding places, so the team better be bringing their A-game, because when the lights come on at Bramley-Moore Dock, the whole world will be watching. Building a stadium on a dock, not exactly a walk in the park. Before a single brick could get laid, the site needed extensive preparation. starting with a small task of filling in the dock basin. And by small, think of a massive water-filled void that had to be carefully drained and reinforced to support the weight of a 52,000-plus seat stadium. Simple, right? This was no ordinary construction site. It was a logistical nightmare wrapped in an engineering challenge. But for Everton, it's all part of the plan to make a statement. And honestly, the payoff is spectacular. The stadium's prime location along the River Mersey delivers some of the most breathtaking views in the city. The architects didn't just slap a stadium onto the waterfront. They embraced the scenery and built it into the experience. Imagine thousands of fans roaring inside while the sun sets over the river, because why settle for just a football match when you can have a postcard-worthy view to go with it? It's not just a stadium, it's a front-row seat to one of Liverpool's most iconic landscapes. But there's more to this design than just pretty views. Everton's new home is a direct nod to the city's maritime heritage, a deliberate blend of sleek modernity and industrial grit. The stadium stands as a tribute to Liverpool's docklands, once the heartbeat of the city's global trade empire. It's the kind of place where the echoes of the past meet the ambitions of the future. And Everton? They're making sure that the future is loud, proud, and impossible to ignore. Of course, pulling off a project of this scale on a UNESCO World Heritage Site wasn't as simple as sketching a few ideas and then breaking ground. Every decision had to meet strict preservation guidelines while still delivering a cutting-edge sports venue. It's a balancing act between honoring history and pushing forward. But if there's one thing Everton knows how to do, it's fight for what matters. And with the Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium, they're not just building a venue, they're planting a flag, loudly declaring that Everton's future is as mighty as the city itself. And it's not just Everton cashing in on this monumental project. The whole city of Liverpool's getting a serious upgrade. The economic impact? Well, it's no chump change. Estimates suggest that the stadium could pump hundreds of millions of quid into the local economy every year. That's right, it's not just about football, it's about a financial windfall that could transform the city's future. We're talking thousands of new jobs, both during construction and long after the final brick gets laid. From hospitality gigs to infrastructure work, this stadium is a job creation machine. And with more fans pouring into the city, local businesses, from pubs to hotels, are set to cash in big time. Match day won't just mean goals and glory, it'll mean booming tills and fully booked rooms. Not bad for a football club looking to rewrite its destiny. But let's be honest, this is Liverpool, where football's not just a game, it's practically religion. So when Everton drops a £750 million stadium on the waterfront, it's not just a flashy new venue, it's a game changer. And if you think the impact stops at the stadium gates, think again. This project is part of a larger push to revitalize the once-neglected docklands, breathing new life into an area that's been gathering dust for decades. It's a bold statement that Everton just isn't here to play. They're here to invest, build, and reshape the city's future. And with a stadium like this set to become a major attraction, expect a surge in tourism, higher spending, and a ripple effect that boosts the entire region. So, while the winners will be battling out on the pitch, the real winners? Liverpool's economy, and anyone smart enough to open a bar near Bramley-Moore Dock. For all the excitement surrounding Everton's shiny new stadium, leaving Goodison Park isn't exactly a casual goodbye. For many Evertonians, Goodison isn't just a stadium, it's practically a second home. It's where generations have celebrated wild victories, mourned crushing defeats, and probably consumed an unhealthy amount of pies. The idea of leaving behind those creaking stands and the echo of unforgettable memories, yeah, that's not something we're brushing off easily. And Everton knows that. They're not just packing up and ghosting their old stomping grounds. Instead, the club has announced a plan that's part tribute, part transformation. Goodison Park will be reborn as a community hub, because if you can't play football there anymore, you might as well make it the heart of your neighborhood. The redevelopment plans include housing, healthcare facilities, and sports spaces, turning a place steeped in football history into a vital resource for the local economy. It's a move that says, we're moving on, but we're not forgetting. And let's be honest, this isn't just a PR move to keep fans from riding. Goodison is an institution, and Everton knows the backlash would be fierce if they simply bulldozed it and called it a day. By preserving the site's legacy, they're offering fans a sense of continuity. Sure, the team's heading to a gleaming waterfront stadium, but Goodison's spirit will live on, just with fewer offside debates and more community services. The emotional weight of leaving Goodison can't be overstated. It's been Everton's home since 1892, long before anyone ever dreamed of stadium Wi-Fi or matchday snacks. It's where Dixie Dean made history, where countless legends were born, and where fans built a lifetime of memories. And while the Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium promises a bold new future, Everton isn't leaving their past behind. They're turning Goodison Park into a lasting legacy, a place that'll continue to serve the community long after the final whistle gets blown. But make no mistake, Bramley-Moore Dock isn't just some sentimental trip down memory lane. It's a bold, no-nonsense declaration of ambition. For years, Everton has been scraping to break into the Premier League's elite, going toe-to-toe with clubs flaunting bigger budgets and flashier stadiums. Now, they're done playing catch-up. The new venue is a loud steel and concrete message to the footballing world. Everton isn't just hanging around, they're here to dominate. And let's be honest, it's about time. Goodison Park, with all its charm, has been struggling to keep up with the modern game. The limited capacity and aging infrastructure made it clear. If Everton wanted a stadium to compete with the big boys, they're going to need a stadium to match their ambition. Enter Bramley-Moore Dock, a $1.2 billion football fortress with room for 52,000 plus fans and enough cutting-edge tech to make the other stadiums blush. It's not just a place to play football, it's a statement. But ambition comes with a hefty price tag and a mountain of pressure. When you're pouring this much cash into a stadium, fans expect more than just a shiny new home. They want results. With the grand opening set for this year, Everton's clock is ticking. The fans, they're not patiently sitting around. They're expecting their team to rise to the occasion on the pitch and off it. This isn't just about building a stadium, it's about building a future. And for Everton, the future doesn't involve settling for mid-table mediocrity. They're aiming higher, much higher. The only question is, can they deliver? As the finishing touches are placed on Bramley-Moore Dock, one thing is crystal clear. This is more than just a stadium. It's a bold chapter in Everton's history, a statement to the footballing world that the Toffees aren't just here to participate, they're here to compete. For a club steeped in tradition, this £750 million project isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's about ambition, resilience, and a not-so-subtle reminder that Everton plans to be major players in the modern game. Goodison Park, it will always be sacred ground for Evertonians, a fortress where memories were made, hearts were broken, and legends were born. But let's be honest, it's no secret that Goodison charm comes with a side of outdated infrastructure. Bramley-Moore Dock, on the other hand, is the future, bigger, bolder, and built to take the fan experience to a whole new level. And with a waterfront view, well, that's just showing off. But this isn't just about a shiny new stadium. It's a symbol of something much bigger, a place where Everton can dream again, a home designed to match the club's ambitions and inspire future generations. From the thunderous roar of the South Stand to cutting-edge facilities that wouldn't look out of place in a sci-fi movie, Everton's not just playing catch-up, they're aiming to set the pace. Of course, with ambition comes great pressure. A stadium this awesome demands performances to match. Will Bramley-Moore Dock be the launch pad that finally puts Everton on top, or will it just be an expensive reminder that shiny new toys don't guarantee silverware? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Everton is done being a footnote in other club success stories. So what do you think? Is this the new stadium that'll put Everton on top, or just a fancy place for mid-table finishes? Do you know that Chelsea's home stadium, Stamford Bridge, can seat just 40,000 fans? That's pretty embarrassing for a top European club like the Blues. However, plans are underway to change all that with recent talks of a mega renovation. But what direction should Chelsea go? Who's paying for the renovation? And is a mega renovation really the best move for Chelsea right now? There's a lot to get into, but first, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Visionary Builds. The need for change. Now, Stamford Bridge is one of the most iconic stadiums in English football, but if you've ever tried to get a ticket for a big Chelsea game, you'll know how hard it can be. The stadium only holds about 40,000 people, which might sound like a lot, but compared to other top clubs, it's actually quite small. Manchester United's Old Trafford can fit over 74,000 fans, Arsenal's Emirates Stadium holds around 60,000, even Tottenham, Chelsea's London rivals, have a brand new stadium that seats over 62,000. When comparing these numbers, it's clear that Chelsea's falling behind in terms of stadium size, and that's a big problem for a club that wants to compete at the highest level. Of course, a smaller stadium means fewer fans get to experience the magic of match days. Because every week, thousands of Chelsea supporters struggle to get tickets because there just aren't enough seats available. For big games like Champions League nights or crucial Premier League clashes, tickets sell out almost immediately. This isn't just frustrating for fans who want to be there, it also means the club's missing out on a huge amount of money that could be used to improve the team, buy better players, and strengthen the squad. More seats mean more ticket sales, and more ticket sales mean more money. And in today's football world where clubs are spending hundreds of millions on transfers, every extra source of income matters. But ticket sales aren't the only financial issue. Match days bring in money from food, drink, merchandise, and hospitality packages, and bigger stadiums with more modern facilities make more money in these areas. Take Tottenham Stadium as an example. It has luxury hospitality areas, high-end restaurants, and even its own brewery. The extra revenue from these facilities help the club stay financially strong. Stamford Bridge, on the other hand, is much older and doesn't have the same kind of modern features. So, by expanding or rebuilding the team, Chelsea could create a better fan experience while also increasing their matchday income. Then there's the issue of keeping up with the competition, because as we all know, football isn't just about what happens on the pitch, it's about building a global brand. Clubs with bigger stadiums can attract more international fans, host major events, and even bring in new sponsorship deals. Real Madrid and Barcelona all have massive stadiums that allow them to both dominate financially and in terms of global recognition. Chelsea wants to be in that conversation, but with Stamford Bridge being one of the smallest stadiums among Europe's elite clubs, they're at a disadvantage. There's also the simple fact that football's changed a lot since Stamford Bridge was first built. The demand for tickets is higher than ever, and fans want modern stadiums with comfortable seating, better food options, and a top-quality matchday experience. Right now, Chelsea's home is falling way behind in these areas, and if they want to stay as one of the biggest clubs in the world, they need to make a change. But how can Chelsea approach these changes, and what realistic options do they have? Let's take a look. Option 1. Expanding Stamford Bridge. One of the most obvious solutions to Chelsea's stadium problem is to expand Stamford Bridge. The idea is simple. Add more seats, make the stadium bigger, and increase revenue, but in reality it's harder than you think. First of all, Stamford Bridge is not like other football stadiums that have plenty of open space around them. It's tightly squeezed into a busy part of London, making any expansion a serious challenge. Chelsea Stadium is surrounded by train tracks, roads, and buildings. To the west, you got the railway line leading to Fulham Broadway Station, and to the east, you have the famous Fulham Road, which is packed with shops, businesses, and residential buildings. There's barely any room to stretch out, let alone add thousands of new seats. So expanding would mean either building over the railway or somehow finding a way to move roads and structures. And that's not something you can do overnight. Then there's the historical issue. Stamford Bridge might not be as old as some of England's other famous stadiums, but it has deep roots in history. One major problem is the view of St. Augustine's Church, which dates back to the time of King Henry VIII. Local laws protect this view, meaning any major construction that blocks it could be stopped before it even starts. So even if Chelsea wants to build upwards, they would have to deal with strict building codes that would slow things down or prevent expansion entirely. Then there's the cost. Adding more seats and expanding a stadium in such a tight space would require a huge amount of engineering work. Building over the railway line, for example, would mean constructing large support structures to hold up news stands. That's not cheap. In fact, estimates suggest even a partial expansion could cost hundreds of millions of pounds. And for all that effort, Chelsea might only gain an extra 10,000 to 15,000 seats, which is not enough to compete with Europe's biggest clubs. Finally, let's not forget about the disruption. Expanding Stamford Bridge wouldn't just affect Chelsea, it would impact the whole neighborhood. Construction would likely take years, with roads being closed and train services being affected, which means the fans, local residents, and businesses would all have to deal with the chaos. So, while expanding Stamford Bridge sounds like a good plan on paper, in reality, it's a logistical nightmare, and that's why Chelsea has also considered another option: tearing it all down and starting fresh. Option 2, rebuilding on the same spot. Now, if expanding Stamford Bridge isn't the best option, then why not just tear it down and build a new stadium in its place? That's another idea Chelsea has explored, and while it sounds like a great way to get a modern, world-class stadium, it also comes with major challenges. The first and most obvious issue is where Chelsea would play while the new stadium is being built. Knocking down Stamford Bridge means the club needs a temporary home, and that's not easy to find. The ideal choice would be Wembley Stadium, but that comes with its own problems. Renting Wembley is expensive, and Chelsea would have to share it with other teams and events. Tottenham Hotspur did something similar when they were rebuilding their stadium, but it wasn't a smooth sailing. Chelsea fans would have to travel further for home games, and it could hurt the club's atmosphere and ticket sales. Another option would be moving to a smaller stadium like Craven Cottage or Twickenham, but neither of these locations are perfect. Craven Cottage, home to Fulham, is too small, and Twickenham is designed for rugby, not football. Then, once again, there's the issue of space. Stamford Bridge is in a tight location, which means building a new stadium would require smart planning. Some experts believe Chelsea could build a new stadium in phases, keeping part of the old stadium open while constructing new sections, but that would extend the construction timeline and create a mess for fans attending matches. And of course, there's the financial cost. Building a brand new stadium in the same spot could cost Chelsea over £1.5 billion. That is a huge investment, even for a club as wealthy as Chelsea. The owners would need to justify the cost by proving that the new stadium would significantly increase revenue. More seats mean more ticket sales, but with modern football shifting toward TV and sponsorship deals, the big question is whether such a big investment is really worth it. But beyond the financial aspect, there's also the emotional side to consider. Stamford Bridge has been Chelsea's home since 1905. Fans have memories, traditions, and a deep connection to the place. Tearing it down completely and replacing it with something new would change the identity of the club in many ways. Some fans might embrace it as progress, but others could feel like they're losing a piece of Chelsea's history. So, while rebuilding Stamford Bridge could give Chelsea a world-class home for the future, it's not a decision that can be taken lightly. The club must weigh the benefits against the risks and challenges before moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, would moving to an entirely different location be the best move for the Blues? Option 3. Moving to a new location. Now, Chelsea moving to a brand new location sounds exciting, right? A fresh start, a massive stadium, and a chance to build something from scratch. But here's the thing, it's not that simple. Because finding the right place in London is like trying to find a parking spot in a packed shopping mall on a Saturday afternoon. It's nearly impossible. Still, one of the most talked about locations for a possible move is Earl's Court. It's just a few miles from Stamford Bridge and has plenty of space for a massive modern stadium. Chelsea could design something state-of-the-art with more seats, better facilities, and all the fancy upgrades that come with a brand new build. This sounds like a dream, but hold on, because the roadblocks are massive, and one of these roadblocks is still space. London's one of the busiest cities in the world, and large plots of land aren't just sitting around waiting for a football club to claim them. Earl's Court was once home to a huge exhibition center, but since it's been torn down, there have been big plans for housing and commercial developments. Snagging that land for a stadium would mean negotiating with developers, local authorities, and residents. And trust me, getting everyone on the same page is like herding cats. Then there's the cost. Building a brand new stadium from scratch is incredibly expensive. As you can imagine, Chelsea would want to go all out and build a state-of-the-art stadium, and this will shoot up the cost significantly. But we'll talk about how much this will cost later on in the video. But here's where things get even trickier. Stamford Bridge isn't just any old stadium. The land it sits on is controlled by a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. This group, made up of mostly fans, owns the rights to both the stadium's land and the name Chelsea Football Club. That means if the club wants to move, they need approval from this group. And guess what? They've rejected moves before. In 2011, then-owner Roman Abramovich tried to buy back the land rights to clear the way for a move, but the Chelsea Pitch Owners voted against it. Why? Because many fans don't want Chelsea to leave Stamford Bridge. It's been their home for over a century. The history, the memories, the special connection, it's all tied to that stadium. Some fans believe moving would strip away the club's identity, turning Chelsea into just another modern super club without its historic soul. So while moving sounds like an easy fix, it's actually the hardest option. Between finding land, dealing with local opposition, securing huge amounts in funding, and convincing the Chelsea Pitch Owners to sign off, it's an uphill battle. Will it happen? Maybe. But if it does, it won't happen anytime soon. Financial considerations. Now, building or expanding a stadium isn't cheap, especially as Chelsea isn't just looking at a small upgrade. We're talking about a project that could cost around £1.5 billion, which is more than what some entire football clubs are worth. And it's not something that can be done overnight, as a new stadium could take up to 7 years to complete, which is a long time in football. In that period, the club's going to need to figure out where to play their home games. Would it be Wembley, Twickenham, somewhere outside London? No matter what, it won't feel like home. That could affect both the team's performance and fan engagement. But let's say Chelsea decides to build a new stadium. Where's that money coming from? A stadium this expensive needs serious funding, and the owners will have to decide whether to take out loans, get outside investors, or raise ticket prices to help cover costs. Of course, many investors will be more than happy to be a part of the Chelsea project, since it's already one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Also, Chelsea has the financial credibility to take on loans, so that area is covered too. But the real fundraising headache might actually come from the fans if the club decides to raise ticket prices. And let's be real, fans aren't going to be happy if prices go through the roof. On top of that, a construction project this big comes with risks. What if costs go higher than expected? What if there are delays? Tottenham Stadium was supposed to open in 2018 but got delayed by months, which was a huge headache, and Chelsea is going to want to avoid something like that. As we speak, talks are still ongoing to decide the best route to take. But what do you think is Chelsea's best option here? Expand? Rebuild on the same spot? Or build a new stadium in a completely different location? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Manchester City has achieved great success in the past decade, and now with the planned expansion of the Etihad Stadium, the club's positioning itself to be one of Europe's biggest. But what's the expansion all about? How much will it cost? And how will it affect the team as a whole? Keep watching this video to find out. How big will the expanded stadium be? The Etihad Stadium has long been a key part of Manchester City's identity. But this expansion takes things to the next level. Currently, the stadium can hold just over 53,000 fans. But once the project's completed, it'll add an additional 7,000 seats to the North Stand. This increases the capacity to an impressive 61,000, making it one of the largest football venues in the Premier League. This expansion will bring the Etihad into the same league as iconic stadiums like Old Trafford and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, showcasing Manchester City's growth and ambition. The increase in seating isn't just about squeezing in more fans, it's about improving the experience for everyone. The new design prioritizes comfort, accessibility, and visibility. Every seat will have a fantastic view of the pitch, ensuring that fans feel closer to the action. The expansion also includes better facilities for disabled supporters, making the stadium more inclusive for all visitors. What's truly remarkable is how this expansion enhances the stadium's stature in European football. A capacity of 61,000 puts the Etihad in prime position to host major UEFA events and international matches, further boosting its reputation as a world-class venue. The extra seats also mean more opportunities for fans to secure tickets for sold-out matches, especially during high-profile games like derby clashes or Champions League fixtures. This size increase also contributes to the broader goal of turning the Etihad Stadium into a year-round destination. By catering to larger crowds, Manchester City can offer more events such as concerts and community activities, ensuring the stadium is busy even during the off-season. This means the club isn't just thinking about football, but also how the stadium can benefit the local community and economy. From a logistical perspective, the construction teams carefully planned the project to ensure minimal disruption during matches. The club is keen to avoid any inconvenience to fans while maintaining its high standards. When completed, this upgrade will make the Etihad Stadium a standout landmark in Manchester and a proud home for City fans around the world. What new features can fans expect? The Etihad Stadium's expansion isn't just about adding more seats. It's about creating an experience that keeps fans coming back. The project includes some stunning new features designed to make the stadium a destination, not just a place to watch football. One of the most talked about additions is the Sky Bar. Imagine sipping a drink while enjoying panoramic views of the pitch and Manchester's skyline. It's not just a bar, it's an experience that takes match day to a whole new level. The Sky Bar is expected to be a big hit, offering fans a premium way to enjoy games while also attracting tourists and non-football visitors. Another exciting feature is the Roof Walk. For those who love a bit of adventure, this attraction lets you walk along the top of the stadium, offering unparalleled views of the city and the action below. It's an innovative way to bring people closer to the stadium even on non-match days. Think of it as a mini adventure park within a football venue. Then there's the Fan Zone, a 3,000 capacity area for supporters to gather before and after games. This space will offer food, drinks, live music, and other entertainment options. It's designed to create a vibrant atmosphere that extends the excitement beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. Whether you're catching up with friends, celebrating a win, or just soaking in the energy, the Fan Zone promises to be a highlight. For fans who want to make a weekend out of their visit, a 400-bed hotel is also being added right next to the stadium. This isn't just convenient for matchgoers, it's also perfect for tourists visiting Manchester. The hotel will cater to a variety of guests, from hardcore football fans to business travelers attending events at the stadium. Lastly, the project will introduce a new club shop and museum. The shop will offer a modern retail experience, making it easier for fans to grab their favorite merchandise. The museum will showcase Manchester City's rich history, giving visitors a chance to learn about the club's journey from its humble beginnings to becoming a football powerhouse. Together, these additions turn the Etihad Stadium into more than just a football venue. It becomes a cultural hub for fans and the local community. How much will it cost and who's paying? Big dreams come with big price tags, and Manchester City's stadium expansion is no exception. The entire project is estimated to cost around £300 million. While that might sound like an eye-watering sum, it's an investment in the club's future, and the people footing the bill are none other than the City Football Group. City Football Group, the owners of Manchester City, has a history of making bold investments in the club. Over the years, they've helped transform Manchester City from a mid-table side into one of the best teams in the world. Their financial backing isn't just about improving the squad, it's also about enhancing the club's infrastructure. And this stadium expansion is a perfect example of that. The £300 million isn't just for new seats and a few cosmetic upgrades, it's funding a comprehensive transformation that includes cutting-edge technology, state-of-the-art facilities, and amenities designed to improve fan experience. From the Sky Bar to the hotel, every penny's being spent to ensure the Etihad Stadium remains one of the best venues in football. But why is City Football Group willing to spend so much? The answer lies in the long-term benefits. The expansion isn't just about having a bigger stadium, it's about generating more revenue. With 7,000 extra seats, matchday income will significantly increase. Also, the new facilities like the hotel and fan zone will provide additional revenue streams even when football isn't being played. These earnings will help the club remain financially strong and competitive in both domestic and European competitions. But funding such a large-scale project comes with challenges, balancing costs, maintaining construction timelines, and ensuring the project stays within budget are no small tasks. However, City Football Group has a proven track record of delivering high-quality projects, and the club has partnered with experienced contractors to make sure everything runs smoothly. In the end, the £300 million price tag is more than just an expense, it's a statement of intent. Manchester City is showing the football world that they're not just building a team for today, they're building a legacy for the future. This expansion will ensure that Etihad Stadium remains a shining example of what a modern football venue should be. When will the project be ready, and what are the challenges involved? Manchester City started construction of the Etihad Stadium expansion in early 2024, marking the beginning of a highly anticipated transformation. The club plans to complete the work by the 2026-27 season, which means fans only have to wait a few years to enjoy the upgraded facilities. This timeline's ambitious given the scale of the project, but the club has experience managing large developments and is confident it can meet its goals. If everything goes as planned, then it'll be worth the wait, as the expanded stadium will offer many benefits to the club and the city of Manchester as a whole. But with every major construction project comes its fair share of challenges, and Manchester City Stadium expansion is no exception. One of the most obvious difficulties is balancing construction work with the need to host live matches. The Etihad Stadium is not just a home for Manchester City, it's also a venue for concerts and other events, and managing construction schedules without disrupting these activities requires meticulous planning and coordination. The size of the project itself adds complexity. Adding 7,000 seats to the north stand means making significant structural changes to the stadium, which is no small feat. Engineers must ensure that the new design seamlessly integrates with the existing structure. This involves reinforcing foundations, upgrading utilities, and installing cutting-edge technology, all while maintaining the stadium's aesthetic appeal. Budget management is another major hurdle. With an estimated cost of £300 million, keeping the project on track financially is a top priority. Construction costs can spiral if unexpected issues arise, such as supply chain disruptions or the need for design adjustments. The club works closely with contractors to avoid these pitfalls, but it's always a race against time and money. Then there's the challenge of meeting fan expectations. Manchester City supporters are excited about the expansion, but also expect a flawless final product. The club has a reputation for excellence both on and off the pitch, and anything less than perfection could disappoint fans. But despite these challenges, Manchester City is confident in their ability to deliver. The club has assembled a team of top architects, engineers, and project managers to ensure the expansion goes smoothly. By the time the project's completed, the Etihad Stadium will not only meet but exceed expectations, standing as a symbol of the club's ambition and resilience. What does this expansion mean for Manchester City? The Etihad Stadium expansion is more than just a construction project. It's a game-changer for Manchester City as a football club and as a brand. Adding 7,000 seats means more fans can attend matches, creating a more electric atmosphere on game days. A larger capacity also means increased ticket revenue, which is crucial for maintaining the club's financial health and supporting its ambitions on the pitch. The new features being added, like the fan zone, sky bar, and hotel, will bring in additional income streams. These facilities aren't just for match days, they're designed to attract visitors year-round. For example, the fan zone will host events, the hotel will accommodate guests attending non-football related activities, and the museum will draw tourists eager to learn about the club's rich history. These additions position the Etihad as more than a stadium. It becomes a central hub for entertainment and tourism in Manchester. From a competitive standpoint, the expanded stadium strengthens Manchester City as one of the top clubs in Europe. Hosting over 60,000 fans puts the Etihad on par with some of the biggest football venues in the world, making it more appealing for UEFA events and other international fixtures. This prestige not only boosts the club's reputation, but also enhances its appeal to players, sponsors, and investors. On a community level, the project creates hundreds of jobs during and after construction, benefiting Manchester's local economy. It also reaffirms the club's commitment to its fans in the city, demonstrating a long-term vision for growth and success. Ultimately, this expansion ensures Manchester City stays ahead of the curve, both as a football team and as a global brand. It's a bold statement of intent, signaling that the club is ready to dominate not just now, but for decades to come. That being said, Manchester City's stadium expansion is more than just about adding seats. It's about creating a landmark that fans can be proud of. From new entertainment spaces to a luxurious hotel, the Etihad Stadium will offer something for everyone. With its completion set for 2026, fans can look forward to a bigger, better, and more exciting home for their favorite team. Let's not forget that the club has a major rival in Manchester, which is Manchester United. So if the city's stadium expansion turns out the way management had hoped for, then they could give Manchester United a run for the best position of the best club in the city. Now, head over to the comments and tell us what you think of Manchester City's stadium expansion. Worth the money or not? We are committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more visionary builds.